Hi everyone, this is my Building Leadership ePortfolio. My name is Michaela Schick, and I'm just going to kind of go through my ePortfolio and give you a little bit of information about myself and the projects that I've done and my experience in my master's degree program. So first off, I have a video about myself and just kind of some of my personal goals, and I won't play the video here, but obviously you can watch it. And then I talked a lot about goals in the video. So what are my short-term, middle-term, and long-term goals, both in my professional and personal life? So in the short term, I'd like to continue to remain a classroom teacher for now. I feel like I'm just not really done with being a classroom teacher quite yet, and so I'm happy that I have my master's degree in leadership now, but I'm not quite ready to begin using it. In the middle term, I would eventually like to transition into becoming a building leader, so maybe an IC, eventually maybe a principal, and I would like to see that transition begin to happen kind of in the next 5 years. And then as far as the long-term goals, I would really like long-term to be involved in district leadership or either education or policy activism of some kind. I'm a major policy nerd, and that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. In the short term of my personal life, I plan on relocating to Indiana. I also have the goal of doing a lot of travel. I haven't really done much travel. And then someday when I'm retired and old and gray, I would really like to be a member of a school board. So my leadership philosophy is an assignment that I completed for one of my courses, but my leadership philosophy is primarily about being a democratic leader. So I have always believed that a leader is a part of a team, not above the team. And I think that the moment that you start thinking of yourself as being above the team is the moment when, as a leader, you kind of are failing. So I included this quote from M.D. Arnold, which is, "A good leader leads the people from above them. A great leader leads the people from within them." I hope to be a very collaborative building leader, a very democratic building leader when I am a principal someday. I think that this is important. It helps with staff buy-in, it helps with the building climate, and it helps people feel like they are heard and valued, and their opinions are, or their opinions and their ideas have, like I said, have value. However, I do talk down here about flexibility. I know that sometimes there are going to be times when I can't rely on a team-based decision, and I do have to just make a decision on my own. And so I think that being flexible as a leader and knowing that not one style works all the time will be important and will help serve me well. So this is my program of study. It's just kind of a basic spreadsheet of the classes and when I took them. The only class that I still have in progress is EDL 853, which is special education, and I'm finishing that up within the next couple weeks here. This is my resume. Kind of just showing general information about me, my education at Fort Hays, and then my undergrad at the University of Kansas, my work experience, and then leadership and additional responsibilities, a lot of which I talked about in my ePortfolio as leadership projects that I had completed. So I'm going to kind of start by going through my different projects that I've done. So we'll start with elementary because this is kind of the main area where I'd completed projects because I'm an elementary school teacher and I would like to be an elementary school principal. So in this slideshow, I've included all of these different activities that I did, and then if you click on these images, you get linked to the documents. One of my favorite activities that I did for these projects, was this video that I made for Kindergarten Roundup. It was a promotional video, and we also translated it into Spanish for our Spanish-speaking families, when we kind of just showed our community what Emerson has to offer. So we talked about our teachers, we talked about our resources, we talked about how our students interact with each other, just kind of so that families really know what they could expect from Emerson. I've also included some pictures down here of some different events and activities that I've been a part of. So these two are from our career day last year. So you can see people, different professionals presenting about their careers, and I helped to plan the logistics of that event. And then also these two are from Family Data Night. So here you can see me presenting some data to a family about their students' achievement. We wanted to focus on helping families help their students this year. So for us, that meant that we needed to make sure that we were informing families of their students' data and also of some strategies that they could do at home to help their student. So like I said, this was from our data night, so my main role there was making graphs. And then my favorite project that I've been working on for elementary projects is our social media. So for the last 2 years, I have been in charge of Emerson's social media, so Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, we normally reach our families through, so we just post basically a bunch of pictures of our kids so parents can see what they're doing at school. But on Twitter, it's been much more community-based, so I've talked a lot more to nonprofits, I've talked to school board members, I've talked to superintendents, just really kind of engaging a lot of different stakeholders, and I have really enjoyed this role. There's actually been times at the last few months where I said, hey, maybe I should be looking for a job in district communications instead of a teacher next year, because I have really loved this role and really loved how it's allowed me to engage with the community. So my secondary projects I will also discuss. So it's the same format with the slideshow, where if you click on the document, it opens it. And then I have included a couple pictures down here from my favorite project. So I'll click over to my favorite project. My favorite project was Bridge to Argentine. So Bridge to Argentine is this transition event that we host at the middle school level. So for 5th grade parents, they're invited to come and see the school and learn from the administrators, from the teachers, from the other parents who are already there, kind of welcoming the students to the school, basically. And it has grown a lot over the last 4 years. I've been involved with it for the past 3, and I've spent 2 years on the planning committee for it. And my role on the planning committee was a logistics captain. So basically what I did was defined what we needed volunteers, which was mostly teachers, to do, and then also dispersing those volunteers to do those jobs at the actual event. So that's the jobs if you click on that. And then this also was a flyer that I created to help promote the event on social media. These are some pictures from the event. You can see parents picking up t-shirts. You can see students kind of interacting with other 5th grade students from other elementary schools that they haven't met before, because there are 5 elementary schools that go into that middle school. So there's definitely a lot of new faces, and we've seen attendance in this event increase a lot over the years. We keep having to add new groups to hold more parents and to hold more students, which is really, really awesome to see, and I love having seen this event grow. My district projects are included right here. So again, same format, where if you click on the slides, you can see what I've done. So I'll show you an example of that. So this is a Prezi that I created to look at cluster data for one of our high schools. So one of our high schools has 2 feeder middle schools and a total of 9 feeder elementary schools. So it's a very large group of students going into this high school. So at one of our meetings this year, where we had all 9 elementary schools, we had the 5th grade teachers in a room, and they said, here is the high school data on Kansas assessment. We only have 1% of our students at grade level in math, and we only have 3% in reading. And obviously those are abysmal numbers, and obviously people were angry about those numbers. But you also have 5th grade teachers sitting in the room, so all the 5th grade teachers are saying, that's not how they left 5th grade. Talk to the middle school teachers. So I felt like it was poor preparation on the part of the administration not to be ready for that question, essentially. So what I did is I created this presentation to kind of track how data progresses over from the elementary to middle to high school level, and showing some analysis on that, and then talking about solutions that we could all work together, K through 12 as a district, to help improve these numbers. I think that this event kind of showed me that the more you plan, the better things will go for you. And learning to anticipate the difficult questions that people might ask you in a professional development setting will definitely benefit the impactfulness of your professional development. This is my bibliography that I created. I actually really enjoyed this assignment. I think I mentioned before that I'm an education policy nerd, but I'm kind of just an education nerd in general. So I really like reading education articles. I'm always looking at something in the New York Times or other Washington Post, other newspapers on education and different sociology issues that also affect education. But, and so I really, so like I said, this one right here is actually from the New York Times. This is an article that I actually read last September, and I still remembered it, so I wanted to go back and include it in my annotated bibliography. So I mostly tried to focus, though, on different like research-based studies. So I shared research-based studies on principals' feelings towards inclusive special education, on teacher evaluation numbers, on the impact that racial diversity in hiring staff makes on student achievement. I wanted like real hard data numbers for a lot of these things. I am a very analytical person, and I make data-driven decisions, or at least I try to. So I am a big fan of principals who will go out there and read research studies and find research-proven methods to be successful in their schools. At the same time, one of these research studies was about the impact of teacher leaders and principal leaders and mentors and coaches on the ability of principals to turn around their struggling schools. And when I was thinking about like mentoring and coaching, I also wanted to point out that I have some articles in here that are about, that are written by principals, so some practitioner articles. I wanted a balance because I think that while we sometimes are so focused on these research articles, we're ignoring the fact that we could be learning a lot from other principals. So I wanted to focus on other principals. So the two practitioner articles that I included in here were about school discipline and negative teacher feedback, which were two areas that I was concerned about my ability to do. So I kind of wanted to get some advice on those areas, essentially. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong link. Let me switch that really quick to the reflection. So this is my program reflection. I kind of discussed how I was feeling when I first entered this program and how I'm feeling now about building leadership. So when I first entered this program, I'm going to be very honest with you, I did not want to be a principal, which sounds very odd for a person sitting in a building leadership program, I understand. But principalship never appealed to me. I thought it was a lot of discipline, a lot of negative teacher feedback, a lot of things that I didn't think I would be that good at. Things that I didn't think played to my strengths. However, through this program, I've also learned that being a principal is educational law. It's communication strategies, it's collaborative work, it's instructional improvement. So it's all of those things too. And some of those things I do think I'm good at. So I think that through this program, I realized that I don't think I would be as out of place in a principalship as I thought I previously would. I feel like I'm a lot more prepared at this point to be a principal, and I've built some of those skills up and realized that there's a lot of different aspects to being a principal, which is something that I think is a really good thing. I'm still not entirely certain that I want to be a building principal for the rest of my life. However, I don't view it as some like horrific thing anymore. I don't view it as like something I'm going to have to do to get to district leadership. It's not a stepping stone that I'm dreading anymore. So I think that this program has overall made me a lot more confident and made me a lot more aware of all that principals do, and that's going to really help me out. I also want to give a special shout out to my favorite course. So my favorite course in this program was AEP 859. I took it last summer, and this course was all about the essential concept of what if school didn't work the way that we think school should work. So I, at first, was really resistant to this course. I was thinking forced preschools are ridiculous, and we need teachers in classrooms. Flipped classrooms, 100% flipped classrooms don't work. I was very resistant, and this course kind of blew my mind and rocked my world for a little bit. But after seeing some of the data and after seeing some of these ideas, I began kind of being more open to ideas. And I think that this is going to benefit me as a building principal and as an education leader in general. Because no matter what role within education I'm in, I think that this course has helped me realize that we don't have to do school the way that we think that we have to do school. And we don't have to accept the status quo. We're preparing students for 2030, not 2019, and definitely not 2000. So we need to really be thinking innovatively and thinking of new things. So I think that this was a really great course for me and something that I'm really, really happy that I took. Finally, I'm just going to kind of look at my activity form. So I've submitted in all of these different activities. I try to be really organized and do all the elementary, secondary, and district ones together. I think the total hours is around 170, somewhere close to that. There's also projects that I did that I didn't submit for this. For instance, I was our building test coordinator for the KELPA exam this year, so I had to make all the KELPA schedules and coordinate all of that, troubleshoot issues with it. I was math relays coach, which I didn't put in there. And then there's just been little things. I've attended workshops for trauma-informed teaching as our school's representative. And I didn't put all of these things in here because they didn't necessarily fit with certain functions, or I already had another project for that function. But there's been a lot of work that I've done for this program and for my school in the last 2 years, and I am really excited to be finishing my master's, and I think I've learned a lot and I feel a lot more prepared. Thank you so much for watching my video.